Hello, Bishop Gata. Let me tell you a story about how others may see your glory. Now, Bella and Hope were best friends. Hope had been listening to the bishop's teachings for some time now, and she always told Bella all the new things that she was learning. Bella was intrigued, and she wanted to know more. She could plainly see the transformation in Hope and wanted the same thing in her own life. The two began studying together, and changes were taking place in both of their lives. So now Bella is finally open to attending church with Hope. So when Hope heard that her favorite bishop was going to be doing the Sabbath teaching, she could hardly contain her excitement. She wanted to surprise her best friend and invited her to the Sabbath teaching. Bella did not hesitate because she was familiar with the teachings and liked them too. Well, Bella and Hope, they entered the church just as the service was starting. As they listened at the humming of the conversations that the flock were having and took up a seat in the back row. Now, when the bishop took the podium, everything got quiet. Bella recognized her right away. She had seen her dressed in scanty clothing, hanging out on the street corner. Bella knew she was a prostitute because of all of the frequent people dropping her off and picking her up. She became enraged, but she kept it silent throughout the presentation, and she'd let the devil gain a foothold in her mind and shifted her focus on the contempt that she was feeling for the bishop. How could God call her to do his work? Her lifestyle had been so full of sinful acts. She was not worthy of serving the Lord. Now, I am certain there are still many who see Mary Magdalene as what she was rather than why God called her. At the mention of her name, most people always just thought she was a prostitute. Well, she was so much more than that. Jesus knew what Mary's lifestyle was, but also knew why he called her. God does not call us because of what we have or have not done. The reason why he calls us is because he knows what we will do. He sanctifies us and sets us apart to do his good works. The why is so much more important than the what. Now, Mary Magdalene was freed of 7 demons and saved by Jesus. Her life was changed immediately, and it transformed her because of her love for Jesus. Mary Magdalene is known as the disciple that Jesus loved most. Now she, along with Jesus' other followers, were crushed with grief as they watched their Messiah be beaten, mocked, stripped, and then nailed to the cross. Mary Magdalene, along with Jesus' mother Mary and Mary, the wife of Clopas, remained at the cross as their Savior took his last breath. Mary Magdalene is the only person who was present at his crucifixion and the very first to see him resurrected. Now Mary ran and she told the others that Jesus had risen, making her the first evangelist for the gospel. We are told that God made us in his image, both male and female. One is not held higher and one is not considered lower. They are equal in their value, significance, and leaders of the church. They are equal in their significance and standing with God, and both were given dominion over the earth. God never intended for just a man to be a judge, a teacher, a disciple, a prophet, apostle, or a bishop. Mary Magdalene is a great example of this. She was the very first evangelist to tell of the death and resurrection of Jesus. Now there are those who wish to take the glory from her story. Jesus faced the same opposition and lack of glory from his story by his hometown. See, Jesus, he went into his hometown accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were amazed. But some were to say, "Where did this man get these things?" they asked. "What's this wisdom that's been given to him? What are these remarkable miracles he's performing? Isn't this the carpenter? Now, isn't this Mary's son and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't their sisters here among with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own town, among his relatives and friends, and even in his own home." He could not do any miracles there, except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Now, there are those who knew us before that focused on what we were before we answered the call. They are not able to forgive completely, just as Jesus forgives us. They hold our past transgressions against us, focusing on the what instead of the why. Perhaps this is why prophets are without honor amongst those who knew them before they answered the call. I challenge you to always, always remember that the what is not as important as the why. And don't focus on that. Otherwise, you will miss out on a divine message. So remember, the what is not as important as the why. Blessings.